soaring, and it also has the advantage of going to the long reach. It is used again for excavation activities, for canals as well, and even you can use this without hauling units. This is the drag line. It is having a different components, whatever I told, and you see the length. It can reach for handling the material with the highest distance or largest distance, and you see this bucket has been used for handling the material. And this has been very much useful even when you go for a bridge construction purpose. This is the line diagram of a drag line, which is having the boom, and this is the operator cabin. And here you have a frame, and you have two type of ropes. One is first is a drag rope, and you also have the hoist rope. And this drag rope and the hoist rope is connected to a boom, to a point, and this drag rope is connected to the frame along with where the cabin is located, and both are being connected to a bucket, where this bucket is used for material handling purpose. And you also have the suspension rope used for suspension activities. And again, this is again a rotating frame, just what I have told for a power shovel, similar to power shovel disc equipment called drag line can also be rotated, and according to that, the material can be handled depending upon the place where it needs to be taken. And the next important equipment is a backhoe. It is also called as hoe or a back shovel and pull shovel, and it is used to excavate below the natural surface on which it rests. So here what we have for a backhoe is also used for excavating trenches, and also used for the basement pits for basements, and also it is also used for grading purpose. And here we can control a high level of depths for which we can use this backhoe. And again, there are different parts. It includes boom, jack boom, foot drum, boom sieve, stick sieve, stick bucket, and the bucket sieve. And even this bucket is very much important for all the equipments, whatever we have seen for a power shovel or a drag line or a backhoe. So the selection of the bucket size, shape, even that is also very much important. Depending upon the application, whether you want to go for a hard material or a soft material, accordingly, you can also select the bucket as well. And the changing of the bucket is also being possible. Uh, when and again, you can also contact the manufacturers or depending upon your thing. And again, even this the digging or excavation activities using the bucket can also optimize your running cost or operating cost. But you cannot use the bucket having a softer material, and you can use that for a harder material. And if you use the softer material bucket to handle the hard material, then the tooth is a part of a bucket will result in a damage condition, and again that will be a big loss. So you need to select the bucket, and accordingly you can also either go for a cost reduction, and you can also optimize the cost. That is also a good way. Uh, and these are the different parts. What is there in a backhoe? It involves a bucket, boom, and we also have a loader, and we have the cab. This is the stick, which is having the bucket, and all these are being hydraulic operated. And again, it can rotate depending upon the place where it is going to excavate or do the construction activities. And accordingly, it can also handle the materials. This backhoe is been suitable for digging below the machines such as for trenches, footings, and also for basements activities. And it can also be efficiently used to dress or trim the surface, avoiding the manual effort for dressing the excavated surface. We have the next important equipment called a clamshell. This is why the name clamshell comes because of its resemblance of the bucket to a clam, which is like a shellfish. Okay, so when you look at the bucket, okay, so we have seen the bucket of a drag line, power shovel, and also the backhoe. Here, the clamshell bucket, I will show it in the next slide. It will be like a shellfish, okay, shellfish shape, and it is hinged to a double shell. So that's why it is called as a clamshell equipment. The front end is essentially a crane boom, which is again a specially designed bucket, which has been loosely attached hook tables, as in the case of a dragline. The capacity of the clamshell bucket is usually again this is also based on the cubic meters. Like what's the capacity, how much is the quantity of material you need to handle. Accordingly, you can also select the bucket size as well. And the basic parts of this clamshell bucket includes the line, hoist line, closing line, sieves, you have brackets, you have tag line, shell, and hinge. Where this clamshell are being used, it is used for handling loose materials such as you have used the pressed stone for your construction activities. You can use this clamshell, and you can also use this clamshell for sand, gravel handling purpose. And the main features is you have the vertical. It has been used for a vertical lifting of material from one location to another location. And this also been mainly used for removing material from a coffer dam or a sewer main holes, and also for well foundation, etc. Um, so this is a very good equipment that we can use it. And as I said, this looks like a shellfish, and you have the two cells. Because of its shape, it is called as a clamp cell. Okay, and this is used for handling the stones, crushed stones basically, and the sands, and even the clay. Okay, so that is the last slide. What I have shown is a bucket alone, and this is the complete equipment. This is basically a excavator kind of thing, but since it's
Sir, your mic is off. Muted.
Excuse me, Arjun, Mr. Arjunraj, sir. It's yes, your mic is muted now. Please switch it on. Yeah, now perfect.
hope my previous slide is. I think you would have heard my voice up to last slide. Yeah. Uh, Now we need to compare.
Sir, again muted.
Okay, so here the comparison is based on the excavation and also here excavation and also based on the distance and also the loading efficiencies and the digging level and also based on the cycle time. If you want to go for excavation in hard soil or a rock, then the power shovel backhoe is good. And when you want to go for a excavation in a wet soil or in a mud, then you can go up for a drag line or a clamshell. And if the distance between the footing and the digging is higher, as I said, this drag line and clamshell can be used for a longer distance material handling. And as far as the loading efficiency is concerned, the power shovel is very much good. Uh, Confirming whether my mic is not off. Okay. And as far as this footing requirement is concerned, the power shovel is very close to work. Backhoe is very close to pit, and whereas the drag line and clamshell is very fairly away from the pit. And as far as the digging level is concerned, uh, digs is based on the footing level, as I said previously, and accordingly you can use it based on your requirements. And the very important thing is the cycle time. The cycle time to handle the material is very short in the power shovel, so the time requirement is very less, which means in a lesser time you can also carry out the activities. Um, and it is shortly more than the power shovel in the case of backhoe. But whereas in the case of drag line or in the clamshell, the cycle time or the duration is going to be higher because, as I said, this is being mainly used for distance where the distance is going to be higher. So accordingly, the time taken also to excavate or to handle the material is also going to be higher. The next important machine is a trenching machine. This is a trenching machine. They are used for excavating trenches for the pipelines and also for sewer cables, etc. And you can use this trenching machine used for excavation activities, and even you have to select this machine based on the requirement with respect to the specifications. We have two type of trenching machines. One is a wheel type. It can be either wheel type or it can be a ladder type. And I will show you some of the video related to trenching machine where you will understand much more in a much more better manner. The next important machine is a scraper machine, which is a unique machine which are used for digging and is also used for long distance hauling of pluggable materials. And this is again a self-operating machine. It is not depending on other equipments. And the wheels of machines can cause some compaction. And the basic parts of a scrapers are bowl, apron, and the tailgate. This tailgate is also called as a ejector. This is how the scraper looks. Uh, the equipment is being manufactured by a company called John Deere, JD, short they call JD. This is the equipment which is being used for digging activities and also for the construction activities. You can use this for the construction of the roads. See how smoothly you can also use this. The next important is a bulldozer, where you have a heavy blade which is attached to a tractor, which pushes the material from one place to another. And this basically a tractor application which can be of a crawler. This bulldozer is of two types. It can be either crawler or it can be of wheel type. And again, the classification of the bulldozer is based on the position of the blades. And the blade is a part of a bucket, and the bulldozer in which the blade is perpendicular to the direction of the movement. And again, based on that, the bulldozer is also classified. And again, based on the angle in which the bulldozer is going to have the movement against a particular material. Based on this, you can also classify the bulldozers. And again, the next important thing is based on the classification of bulldozers is also based on the mountings. One is wheel mounted and another one is crawler mounted. And it's also based on the control, how the bulldozer can be controlled, whether it is a cable controlled or it's going to be a hydraulically controlled one. These are the different parts of a bulldozer. The very important thing is a bucket with the blade. And again, here you have different components like what we have seen for the previous cases. But here, the size of the blade, the bucket is going to be much more higher as compared to that of the previous equipments. And this can also be used for very complex activities where it is not been possible for by the previous equipments, whatever we have seen. And here, as I said, this have been based on the crawler type or a wheeled type. Based on that, the classification of the bulldozer can be classified. And it can be either hydraulically operated or it can also be operated through cables. And it's also having the cylinders. You have the blade lift cylinder. You also have the riper cylinder, and this been used for getting the power. And according to that, the movement of the bucket and also the movement of and the tooth can be taken. You also have the riper tip tooth, which is located at the back side. It's also used for the digging or construction purpose. Where these bulldozers have been mainly used as far as the construction purpose is concerned, it is used for spreading the earth field. So, as I said, if you have a bigger size and where it's not been possible by other equipment, you can use the bulldozer. And it's also used for opening up pilot roads through mountainous and rocky terrains. If you are constructing anything into the mountain region or in where you have the rock terrains, this also can be used in a much more better manner. Used for clearing construction sites. Sometimes you also need to clear it. Okay, sometimes you also do some renovation or a kind of thing. Even at the PWD, you also might be doing it. And when you go for a renovation or something like some of the bridges where it is almost to fail, and you can also do the demolition activity of the bridge, and again you can construct a new bridge for which you can use this bulldozers. And if you want to demolish, you can also use where it's not that you are going to demolish the thing purposefully, but if you are not demolishing that, that will also lead to some of the accident or kind of thing. So it is very much important you need to go for clearing the particular bridges, and you have to go for a new bridges or a construction activities for which you can use these bulldozers. I will show you. I have a video. I will also show you how this are being used for taking out the materials when you are demolishing or removing the material from the old bridge. It is also used for maintaining hauled roads and used for clearing lands from the trees and stumps. Basically, you can use this for highway purpose as well. And this also being used for backfilling the trenches at the construction sites by dragging the earth from one place to another place. And the very important thing is a tractor. You have you might be knowing these terminologies. So you have two type of tractor. One is crawler type and again wheel type. And this crawler type again, tractor with a dozer or a scraper, what you have. And we have seen some of the equipments in previous equipments where this tractor is of two types, in which is either of cradle type or it can be a wheel type. In the case of cradle type, what you have is you have a chain, and which has been very much useful in the case of muddy soils, or in the case uh, the friction between the chain and the soil or a earth is very loose, and the speed of the crawler type tractor will it cannot exceed 12 kilometer per hour. Okay, but when you want to increase the speed of your machine, sometimes like if you have the requirement of 40 kilometer per hour, then you need to have an engine which is mounted on a four wheel drive basically, and you need to have a wheel type tractor rather than chain type, and where you want to have high speed, and it's also used for the wheel type is also used for a long distance hauling and also for a good roads. This is the tractor having a chain application, the crawled type, um, uh, and the tooth and the wheel type I have not shown, but I will show in some of the videos. Um, Here we have the comparison between a crawler type and a wheel type. As I said, the crawler type is less than not beyond 20 km per hour, and this can be used for a higher speed, even exceeding 50 km per hour. And in the case of crawler type, it is much more compact and powerful and can also handle heavier jobs, but this wheel type can handle only lighter jobs. And the crawler type, the cost is going to be higher. Crawler type cost is going to be higher, and the wheel type is going to be cheaper. I will also give you a picture with respect to the cost, how much will be the cost involved. And in the second half, we will see mostly of the cost point of view. And the operations and maintenance cost is going to be higher for a crawler type, and because of its complexity with respect to the chain system, what it is having. And again, there's again friction is going to be higher, and even the replacement cost is also be much more higher when you go for a crawler type. But but the advantage here is it can handle heavy jobs, and it is we have in the case of crawler type we have a stick control for steering, and in the case of wheel type we have a wheel steering control. This crawler type can run can go in a rough road. It cannot go in a good road. Okay, and if it is a wheel type, it can go both in a rough road as well as in a good road. And this crawler type is used for a short distance, whereas this can be used for a longer distance. In the case of wheel type, the skill requirement for operating the machines is not need to be too much highly skills. Okay, but whereas in the case of crawler type, to operate the machines, you need to have a skillful operator, and that will also call for a maintenance and repairs as well. And the next important thing is the rollers. You have different type of rollers. You have smooth wheel rollers, 6-foot rollers, you have 10-foot rollers, you have the pneumatic type rollers. So yes, you'll see these different type of rollers. What we are using for a roads and bridges construction. So first one is a smooth wheel roller. So these are blind steel rollers. It is again a self-propelled type. The weight of this roller can vary between 5 to 15 tons, and this smooth wheel rollers are being used for ordinary rolling work, where you need to have a deep compaction, where you no need to have a deep compaction. Okay? Maybe what I can say, the deep compaction is the sense, the depth what you have. Okay, you don't need to have too much depth, and for that particular application, you can use these smooth wheel rollers. Um, and these rollers will have one front and two rear wheel, and the rear wheels are being usually larger in diameter, and front one being winder. I will show you in the picture how it looks. And smooth wheel rollers may be increased by filling the weight of the rollers can also be increased by filling water or sand ballast in the hollow cylinder. And these rollers are effective in compacting granular oils such as sand, gravel, and even it can be used for handling the crushed stone as well. And you see, this is the smooth wheel roller where the rear wheel or real roller or real the diameter is much more higher than the front one. Okay, where you have two at the rear and one wheel at the front. Okay. And the next important roller is a sheep foot roller. And this is also used for compacting purpose, especially used for the work activity which is going to happen in embankments and also in canals. Here, the last what we have is the smooth in the case of the roller, what we have seen, where the depth is not required. But here, because of seat foot rollers, you can use this where you have the compaction depth is higher, and it gives the best result with respect to the compaction. When the soil is clay or predominantly it is cohesive or impervious. And the seafood rollers may also weigh up to 14 tons. In the case of previous one, we also seen the weight is between 5 to 15 tons. And as far as weight is concerned, it is also in line with the previous roller. And it can travel. One advantage is that it can travel up to 25 kilometers per hour. And this, this seafood rollers can also move over the surface. It can also penetrate the soil compressor, and it can mix and compact the soil from the bottom to the top layer. And with the continuous usage of the roller, what happens is the penetration of the feet decreases, and this is very good. It will result in a very good compaction with respect to the soil. And again, when it is operating, it also giving me some pressure so that the compaction is going to happen in a perfect manner between the soil and then the earth, where it is going to have a different type of layer uh, compacting the proper compaction purpose. This is the sheep foot roller. You can see how it looks. And here advantage is that it can go up to 25 kilometers per hour. And in the case of the smooth roller, what we have seen in the first type, having a single roller at the front and two roller at the rear, and where even the depth is not that much highly effective. But here you can also go to the higher depth, and the compaction efficiency is also going to be higher. The next type is a pneumatic type roller. It contains a platform between the two axles, the rear of which one has a wheel than the front. This also been used for compacting, but still this is used for compacting the fine-grained soil and well-graded sands. Okay, depending upon the condition, you also need to select what type of roller you need to have for the particular application. And this pneumatic type roller is also used for ballasting operation, which can be done either using water or sand or a big iron in order to increase the self-weight of the equipment. The major advantages of going with the pneumatic type roller includes it has the ability to control the ground contact pressure by altering the weight of the machine. It can also increase the number of wheels. It can also increase the tire width. Yeah. Even this also very important, the size and the shape of the tire. That can be increased with the help of pneumatic type rollers as well. And when you increase the tire width or the tire size, again accordingly you have the much more control over the ground with additional pressure, additional contact pressure basically. And you can also This pneumatic type roller is also helping you to have the contact area of the tire by altering the contact pressure as well. See, you have different here you have four wheels. Accordingly, you can also increase the width if required. Accordingly, if you increase the width, what happens? You have the high pressure into the object. So here the object is the road. See, this is used for leveling as well, and even this is also used for giving some pressure which is required for you um, level the surface, and also this helps for a smooth construction of roads or even the PWD activities. The next important equipment is a hauling equipment. They're used for transportation of the materials, also known as a hauling equipment, or simply you call as a hauler as well. And it can be used for operating on the roadways, or even it is also used for a railway application. Here it involves the transportation of materials. It's used for and here is also used for carriage and disposal of excavator earth, and this is used for haulage of heavy construction equipment as well. And as far as the hauling is concerned, it's based on the load dumping. It is classified as trucks and also dumpers. So when I said trucks, it is having two types. It can be a side or rear dump trucks, or it can be a bottom dump trucks. And the dumpers is also a part of the hauling equipment. Let us see the dump trucks. These have been used for earth moving purpose, and the selection of the type of the dump trucks is based on the job what it is going to carry out, depending upon the soil condition. And here you have, as I said, you have two type of uh, drum trucks. One is front drum trucks, and one is rear drum trucks or a side drum trucks. In case of side or rear drum trucks, what you have um, uh, uh, a strong build body which has been hinged on the truck chassis, and this has also been hinged to a place where it can do the action of a hydraulic jacks. And this side or rear drum trucks is been used for hauling a wet clay or a sand or a gravel or a quarry rocks. Basically, it is you can use this for a quarry rock quarrying activities. This is the side drum truck where it is used for carrying big rocks as well. Quarrying purpose you can use. Okay. And when I say side or rear, even this you can assume that side this can be even the rear side as well. But mostly it is why it is called rear, because this is front side is the rear side, and why it is called side, because it can either handle the material either in the side left side, or even can also have this in the opposite direction as well. And here when I say it's rear drum, it's going to have one particular direction in the rear side, and when I say side, it will be either left side or right side. And you also have the bottom drum trucks, where this also similar to a semi trailer what we have, in which the front is been supported onto the rear of a hauling tractor, and the rear is been resting onto their own wheels. Here in the case of bottom trucks, the body of the truck remains in the same position, and it is used for discharging the material, and this is being used for longitudinal directions as well. And here you have the gates which are been hinged to the side of the body. And the trucks, what I was telling is a bottom dump trucks. It's been suitable for hauling free flowing material which is related to the sand or a gravel or a dry earth or even hard clay. Even when you have the hard clay, then you can go for this bottom dump trucks. And this is how it is. Okay. This for handling the materials. And this you might have been known. This is quite known. It's a very widely used in a long process called tippers. Okay. This tippers is also called as a lorry or a truck. Where you have the rear platform which can be raised at the front end to enable the load to be discharged by gravity. It is also called as a dip truck. You can use this for handling sand, M sand, or clay sand, or river sand, or even rocks or stones. You can also crush it, and you can use it. You can use this to travel or to transport from one place to another place. These tippers are being suited for a rough and even this also used for quarrying operations, and this well suitable for carrying bulk loads in constructions and also for in infrastructure industries. Again, even the tons, the capacity of these tippers or a lorry will also vary, and you need to see what's the requirement of the capacity in terms of tons. How much is the requirement? Accordingly, you can also go for a selection of the vehicle, and accordingly you can use it. If in case if you are going for a outsourcing through some contractor, uh, then they will have their own tents. But when you want to purchase for PWD usage, then you need to select the optimum tents, and accordingly the vehicle cost can also be reduced. But it doesn't mean that the only we're concentrating on the cost, but at the same time, you also need to concentrate on the time also required to complete a particular project. Accordingly, you can either go for a high level of tonnage or a capacity of the tipper, or you can have the optimum size. Okay, and this tippers is also used for high performance and long term endurance. And it's also help for reducing the operating costs, and it's also helping for maneuverability as well. You have the forklift. This is the forklift. This forklift is also called as a lift truck, a fork truck, or a forklift, where you have a tow motor, which is again used for lifting purpose and also for transporting materials. You can lift the material, and you can also transport from place to another place. It is also having the engine compartment, it's having the frame, it's having the forks, this is a fork, and it is having the carriage, it's having the lifting chain, this is a chain, it's a cabin. And again, this forklift is also available in different load capacity, and what do you have a forklift is having a load capacity between 1 to 5 tons. And even sometimes what happens, the large capacity machines of the forklift can go up to 50 tons capacity as well, which are used for lifting heavier loads. These are the different type of forklift that is being used in industry purpose. Even accordingly, you can also use it for roads and bridge construction as well. Dumpers is the next important thing. Where you have high-speed pneumatic wheeled trucks, and these are used for a short chassis, strong body, and is also used for a loading, hauling, and dumping, where it will be done in a very fast manner as compared to that of other equipment. It's also suitable for short hauls on even rough road. Okay, not that if the road is going to be very rough and where you need to do some of um, the construction activities, this can be used well ahead. It's used specifically where a subtle movement is required, basically. You see, the dumper carrying the sand for a road for handling the material, and the road is going to be very rough, and still you can use this. Okay. The next important is hoisting equipment, and as the name indicates, hoisting, it's it's nothing but lifting a weight from one location and moving it to another location where the distance is quite reasonable. And this hoisting machines or equipment is being used for the construction of dams. Even this it can be used for some of the high distance again. It's not too much high distance, but a reasonable distance, even for the bridge application, what we call. And hoisting equipments, it has the winches, it is having a chain hoist, it's having the jacks, it is also having the cranes. And here you have the crane. It's a single machine which is capable of providing three-dimensional movement of a weight. And as far as the cranes is concerned, it's categorized as stationary or derrick cranes, or mobile cranes, or overhead or gantry cranes, or traveler cranes, or tower cranes. These are the different cranes you have for a hoisting thing. And as I said, here we are going to see the two important cranes. One is derrick cranes and the mobile cranes. This derrick cranes are being used for a maximum load of up to 200 tons, where you need to have where you can use these derrick cranes. And this consists of a boom. It is having a wheel on which the boom rotates about a vertical axis, and for supporting load as well. And this derrick cranes is also electrically operated. It is also, it can be even diesel operated, or even combination of diesel along with electric. And the boom, what this crane is having, it can revolve 360 degree. The next important type is a mobile crane, where these cranes are mounted on a mobile unit, which is either crawler type, or again you have the wheel type. This you have a truck cranes which is having a high mobility, while the crawler mounts towards the distance will be very much very slow here. And when as I was telling, the crawler can be used for the rough road or a rough terrain or a mountain region, where you can go for a crawler rather than a wheeled type. And when you go for a mobile cranes with a crawler mounted cranes, and this can be capable of moving even on a mountain region or in a rough road condition. Here this is of a wheel type, and even you can go for a crawler type. And this is the crane where this can operate. You can use this for construction of bridges with some distance. You also have a overhead or a gantry cranes. This is also been much more good for a larger service area, where you have a freedom from floor obstructions and three-way mobility. It's again a three-way mobility. This overhead or a gantry crane is been widely used in the case of erection purpose, foundry, and some of the other applications also can be used, mostly for some of the industrial activities. And the overhead or a gantry is consisting of two parts. One is a bridge and another one is a crab. And again, when I say bridge, it consists of a main girder fixed at one end, and is capable of moving on the other end with the help of a gantry rails. And you have the crab, which consists of a hoisting gear mounted on a frame. The frame itself is mounted on another set of wheels and capable of traveling across the main girder. So you have the component called a girder. This is the overhead crane. Is being used for construction or the equipments. You have the trolley, and you have the push button which is being shown. And accordingly, what we have is, it can be either electrification, or it can be either semi-electrification can also be done. And accordingly, you can use this application for moving the material from one place to another place. This you would have seen. Next, we have the traveler cranes. Traveler cranes is also called as the bridge cranes, which having their crabs moving on the girders, and these are being supported on legs instead of an overhead gantry track. And the legs are capable of moving on tracks laid onto the floor. You have the tower cranes. Is also another type of crane, which is similar to the derrick crane. We have seen a derrick crane where it can also handle a huge amount of load up to 200 tons, and this is mounted on a steel tower. These tower climbs are being used for raising the buildings basically. Okay, but um, that much you need to see how much is the level of the rise of buildings. Okay, even when you say the bridge, when you go for a big constructions, okay, so you need to see if you want to go for a high rise bridge, okay, then this can be used in a much more better manner. And again, the selection of the crane is also depending on the size and the overall length and with everything you need to consider, and again accordingly you need to go for the selection of the crane, because the operating cost or the maintenance cost is going to be higher for different cranes, and again accordingly your annual maintenance cost or the AMC or a mark contract what you are going to have with your vendors, you can also have a full control over it based on the selection what you have. Again, the main parts of a tower crane includes it is having the carriage, main carriage. It is also having a sleeving platform. It is also having the tower with the operator cabin, and also it is having pits. And the tower trains has a truss structure which has been welded from steel parts and also for the channels. This is the tower crane. It's having the tower mast. This is the tower mast. And it's having the counter jib ballast. It is the operator cab where the operation is going to happen. And this is the counter jib, this is the jib tie, this is the crane runaway where the crane moves. And it is having a trolley, and this trolley will be pulling the rope, handling the material accordingly. We also have aggregate and concrete production equipment. This aggregate has to be produced at the site if the quantity needs to be very high. Okay, you also have a separate manufacturing unit where you can manufacture the concretes. Therefore, in any project where concrete requirement is very high, you need to have a aggregate preparation and processing plant, which has been essential to complete the concreting operations. You might have some of the vendors, okay, where they manufacture the concretes for your applications, for PWD applications. So accordingly, even you can also have a small setup of manufacturing as well. But if the quantity is going to be too huge, then it is better to go with the already manufacturing companies or manufacturers, so that your cycle time will be lesser. Only thing is that even operating costs or the overall cost occurred for getting that particular concrete will be lesser. That's why make or buy decision is also very much important, and accordingly you can go for a strategy. And aggregate production consists of two stages, which is one is recovery stage, another one is a processing stage. And here you are going to use a basic material which is stone. It can be recovered from a rock quarry or from a riverbed, and processing can be done through this production unit or a machine, which consists of the different stages of the processing of the big stones or the stones, rocks basically. Is first it involves a crushing, then it goes for a grading, then it goes for a washing, then again it goes for a stock building of aggregate. Okay. And when I say crushing, it consists of a pressure. It is having the impact. It is having the attrition. It's also having the combination of pressure, impact, and attrition. And when you go for the pressures, is being mainly used to reduce the size of a large stone or a rock. From a big rock having a big diameter or a depth, bigger diameter, irregular shapes. The shapes will also be irregular. Okay, and this is used for the first process will be with some pressure. It will reduce the size of a rock or or a object, then finally it will also not only reduce the size or shape, but it will also help you to maintain the uniform size. Accordingly, the structure will be also be maintained. They are required for a concrete mix. You have a jaw crusher, one of the primary crushers. It operates by allowing stone to go into the space between the two jaws. I will show you in video how the stones or big stones or big rocks are being crushed. I will show you in the video in the next after the break. I will also show you some of the things along with the cost. I will show you. And this jaw crusher is been can be either stationary or it can be movable uh, and where currently you need to have the pressing surface, that accordingly you need to select it. Here the distance between the two jaws can be decreased, and it can see what happens when we have the stone which is traveling downward under the when the stone is moving from upward to the downward because of the gravity. What happens is uh, you have the two jaws which holds the material, okay, which holds the stones, and it is used. These jaws are being used for crushing activity, and the distance of these two jaws which is holding the stones can be it will get decreased because it is moving downward. The stone is moving downward under the earth gravity, and it is also exerting some of the load or a pressure which are required to crush the hard rock or the big stones, what you call. So here you have the movable jaw, which has been which is suspended from a shaft mounted on a bearings on the crusher frame. You have a jaw plates which have been made of manganese steel that can be removed, replaced, or even can be reversed. This is the jaw crusher, where you can also do the sizing gap. What should be the size of your stone, and even you can. This is the feeding where the feeding is going to happen. This is where the crushing. Okay, you have the jaws where you have one is a stationary jar, and the one is a moving jar. And this moving jar, when it moves, and when moving jar and a stationary jar, when both are in contact with this the material or a stone, then it crushes the heavy stones into a smaller particles, and finally you get slicing also done. And here you have the flywheel, and this can be adjusted even with the help of a wedges. You have the hydraulic ramp where this operation is carried out with the help of a hydraulic pressure as well. The next important crusher is a gyratory crusher. This is also another type of a primary crusher. This is type of crusher is comprised of a hardened steel head, and it has a long conical shape with a trough shaft suspended in a bearing at the top. It's similar to what we have seen in a jaw crusher in the previous slide. And it's also having the eccentric base connection connected to the gears. As the cone is rotated, the gap between the crusher, what you have the jaws here, but here you have a feed which has been done between the top and the down where the crushing is going to happen. And finally, you are going to have the size depending upon the width of the operation which is being measured between the crusher's alignment towards the directions. And the very important here is the gyratic crusher size varying between 20 centimeter to 200 centimeters. So according here you can optimize, and accordingly you can select what type of size you want to have for your application. So these are different type of parts that you have for a gyrator crusher. You have the gears here in the case of the jaw crusher where it is been operated with the help of a hydraulic, but here it is the gears are being used for the power transmission. And here what you have is a shaft which is being connected to a bearing, and you have a spreader, we have a crushing chamber here, the crushing happens, and according to the shape you can get it. Well, again here noise will be, the gear noise can be higher. I mean, it's not too much higher, but one disadvantage can be the gear noise. The life of the gear is again the thing. Unlike in the case of hydraulic, only you need to have a sufficient amount of hydraulic liquid, and again the only thing is that operation is very much important. But here what happens, the noise can also be a part of that, and again the wear and tear of the gears, okay, even that also needs to be taken care. But again the warranty you are going to get when you are going to purchase this machine, and when you are going for outsourcing, and again um, they are going to add accordingly, depending upon the size, and then depending upon the duration of the project, accordingly the project cost can be also gets varied. And you have the cone crusher, which is called as a secondary or a tertiary crusher. And these crushers are capable of producing large quantities of fine, uniformly fine crushed stone. So if you want to have a large quantity of stone, which is of uniform and fine crust, then you can go for this cone crusher. It has a shorter cone with a smaller inlet and outlet openings as compared to that of a aerated crusher. I will also show you the video how the stones is coming out for size, and then it both the jaw crusher, and also I will also show you the cone crusher how it looks. This is the feed where you are going to feed the stones different size, and it is a cone shape basically, as the name indicates. It's a cone. Here you are going to have a crushing where the crushing chamber where the crushing is going to happen. The crushing of the stones is going to happen. And finally, when it is getting discharged, what happens is the required shape you are going to get it. You have the roll crusher. It's also called as a secondary or tertiary crusher. And this crusher consists of a heavy cast iron frame which has been equipped with two counter, which has been rotating roller, which is mounted on a shaft. And here you have the crushed stone or a crushed rock from the primary crusher, which has been feed through the gap between the two rollers for crushing it further. And this roll crusher can also be used for compacting activities, and again you see here the weight of this roll crusher is going to be very light, and this also the cost is going to be very low and very compatible one. And here as far as the roll crusher is concerned, you have one roller which is been fixed one, and another one can be adjusted to give the required setting, which means another one roller will be a moving one that can be adjusted depending upon the setting. You have the two rollers, basically one either one you can change the direction accordingly. You see how the when two are in contact, how it is getting missed. Accordingly, the stones, the big rocks can be pressed. You have the hammer mill, which is also one of the impact crusher, mostly used as a primary or secondary crusher. It consists of a housing frame, a horizontal shaft extending through the frame, and it's also having number of frames, hammers, which has been attached to the frame, and one more hard steel breaker plates is also been a part of hammer mill. When you are feeding stone into the mill, the hammer which are being driven by a motor, you have the motor which is moving at high speed, and it will break the stone into pieces, and it helps to drive them against a hard plate, and further it can reduce their size. This is the hammer mill, where it is having the rotor and the rotor shaft. It is the hammer. and is having the grade, and accordingly still you can reduce the size of the stone using this hammer mill. This is the casing where it protects the hammer and then internal parts using the casing. You have the rod mill and then the ball mill. You can also use this for your construction purpose. Basically, here these are called as a tertiary crusher. Yeah, a rod mill consists of a circular steel shell, and here the interior of the shell is being lined with a hard material bearing surface, and the shell consists of a number of steel rods. The length of these rods is slightly less than the length of the shell. The crushed stone is feed. This is very much important. So whatever we are seeing, whatever the mill or a hammer or rollers, whatever we are seeing, it is used for crushing the stone. And again, after crushing, we need to have the required shape, size. That is where the selection of hammer, mill, and the other type of crushers comes into picture. Accordingly, you can also go for the optimization of the machine usage. Here, when you go for a rod and mill, ball mill, so what you have is a here you have the crushed stone which has been fed into the inlet, and you get the fine aggregate size of the material. It can be even not only the stone, but it can be sand also. Okay, even the hard sand. Okay, sometimes even you also need to break that according to the requirement of the. Sometimes you also need to make it very fine, fine sand. Okay, and if the rods again, the size of the balls can also, as I said, you have one rod and one ball where second,
So, yes, you are doing some other percentage.
yeah,
Yes, coming.
just
Okay.
hope my screen is visible. Okay.
Yes, yes. Please proceed.
This is the rod and ball mill. What you have. It can be either sand or yes, stone where it can be pressed according to the shape what is being required. In the case of ball mill, you have the different balls of different sizes, and in the case of rod mill, you have a rod different. It is having a shaft with different diameter. Accordingly, you can use it for pressing your stones or your sand. See, when you are going on construction activities, you need to have a concrete one of the thing, and which is being used for ingredients in required proportion, and you need to have a very important thing: the selection of. Just a second. Okay, you need to have ingredients along with the sand. The stones, and then when you go for concrete, you need to have the proper ingredients, and you call this as a storing material where you have the cement and mixers can be mixed in a proper proportions, and you see this is the concrete production plants where you have the aggregate batching plant, you have the concrete mixer, and you have the cement which is coming out proper ratios. This is the concrete mixer, and this concrete mixer is also called as a cement mixer, where it is where it here the cement is being homogeneously combines the cement aggregators such as you have the combination of sand, gravel, and water to form a concrete. And this concrete mixer uses a revolving drum. This is the drum. It will be revolving to mix the components, sand, water, or gravel, or cement. And finally, you are going to get a concrete out of it. That's why it's called as a concrete mixer with different. The proportion also will be quite good, and you have a revolving drum. And for small volume works, it is again a portable one. You can also take it from one location to another location. And basically, when you are doing um, any rework in a national highways or on a road, you can use this. As this is also a portable one, and for small volume of work, you can use this as this is portable one, and it's also used so that concrete can be made at the construction site itself, giving the workers ample time to use the concrete before it hardens. Because you need to use the concrete before it hardens, but again, the time required for you to use the concrete to the roads and the bridges, it should use it before it hardens. Okay, but when you go to the concrete manufacturing plant and when you take and you come to your site, and sometimes what happens, the hardening time, if it is exceeding, then again it becomes very difficult for using it in the roads or in bridge construction. So hence it is required according to the timings, and also according to the level of work you need to have this concrete mixer. And you see, this is also a concrete mixer where you have a special concrete transport truck, transit mixer. It's also made to transport and mix concrete up to the construction site. Uh, and they can be charged with dry materials inside, and you have the water with the mixing occurring during the transport. Because I told you, when you transport the concrete from, I hope my voice is audible. Okay, when you transport the concrete from the plant to the construction site, sometimes the hardening will be an issue. So in order to maintain uh, the condition of the concrete, this vehicle is having the concrete mixer which has been attached to it, where it can be charged with a dry material, and even if it is having the water with which can be used for maintaining the, the condition during the transport as well. And what happens if you go with this type of condition is that already you are going to have the proper mixture. The proportion is going to be mixed in a proper manner. And again, the concrete mixing during the transport, it also helps to maintain the material liquid state. Okay, this is very much important. Okay. Because once if it gets hardened, then it is very difficult to use. That's what I told you, and that has been possible with the help of it is having the water in it, and it will help you to maintain a dry state. And sometimes it will be rotating. The drum will be revolving. You might have seen. Okay, you might have seen uh, that the drum is going to revolve or rotate during the transport. So because it needs to ensure that the concrete is not going to get dry before because once it is dry, then you cannot use it for road or a bridge construction. So it's very much important that the concrete mixer should ensure that it should free from getting hardness. Okay. The next important thing is paver machine. I will also show you this in a video. It's a very interesting one. When you are extending the roads, this can be very much used. Okay. Suppose if you are increasing when you're going for a 8-lane road, or increasing the 4-lane to 8-lane road. Okay, this is a very good option. Okay, and a paver finisher, it is having a paver finisher, asphalt finisher, and And this is is a vehicle which is used to lay asphalt on roadways, and this is being normally fed by a drum truck. Okay. I will also show you the video of this. This is quite interesting one. You have a separate machine, a roller, which is being used to press the hot asphalt mix, resulting in a smooth, even surface. Okay, the sun base what we have being prepared by use of a grader to trim a crushed stone to a profile after rolling. So here it has been basically used for a complete mix, and you can go for a um, complete road construction as well by increasing. You see, this is what I told you. You can also use it for extending the road, or even for a new road construction also, where you see the size is going to be higher. Okay, uh, this you have the some size according to this size, the size is going to be higher. If you want to have a 4 lane or even 8 lane road, you want to increase the 4 to 8, even this can be used. You have very important equipment called pile driving equipment. Here, the process of pile driving involves lifting the piles into position and holding it to a refusal or to a specified depth. And this pile drive equipment, this is something uh, quite used. It's been here the driving has been accompanied to hammering the pile top with a hammer. You have a hammer, and this equipment are also being designed for driving for effectiveness with respect to the economic cost. The major pile driving equipments are the pile driving rigs and also the pile driving hammers. So these are the pile driving equipment is being used for uh, the pile activities. You have a pile driving machines and you have the rotary drill rig. Okay. The, we have seen this already. Road loaders. What is the advantage? We have already seen. Okay. Next, we go with a topic called generators. Okay. So as you know, the generators of different types. We have AC generator, DC generator, and again it's divided into various classification. Okay. But as far as the construction equipment is concerned, uh, oh, not okay. I forgot to attach one more slide. Okay, I will explain that. You have just a second. Okay. You have different types of generators. Normally, you can use it. You have portable generators. You have standstill generators, high power generators, low power generators. But when you are going for a construction, basically for the roads or bridges, so you need to have a generator which is used for the electricity. So in order to have that, because it will be continuous sometimes. Okay. So for that case, you need to have a heavy duty generators, which the range should be between 200 kilowatt to 2000 kilowatt. Okay, where you need to have the continuous electricity. Especially when you are going to do the activities in the night time, you can go for these high power generators. Okay, and this provides high amount of power, which is required at a large consistency. But even especially when you go for a bridge construction, because for those time for those things it is quite useful. And if in case if it is for a very less complex work, you don't need to use high powered generators, where you can also go less than 200 kilowatt as well. Okay. The jackhammers, it's again a very important machine or equipment which are used to demolish the old concrete. Okay, the roads you can use it, and sometimes what happens, uh, the concrete become old, and you cannot demolish using the jackhammers. I will also show you a video how the demolition is going to happen with the help of a jackhammers. And see, the cost of the jackhammers or a compressor, generators are quite very less, and you can directly buy it rather than you go for outsourcing. But when you have the high equipments, heavy equipments like the dozers, or excavators, or dumpers, or your drag line, or your cranes, rollers, those things can be, you can get it AMC or a mark, or you can also go for outsourcing through vendors. But where the cost is less, you can obviously you can buy it. And only thing is that still some of the like one or two equipments also you can purchase that will help you to reduce the cycle time, because you cannot depend every time on the contractors, or because sometimes being in PWD, it's very much important that um, the strategy wise, I know everything will be clear, but the thing is that it's very much important that you need to have some equipments on your own, and so that it will help you to reduce the cycle time of the constructions of the roads, or wherever you need to do some clearance activities, or wherever you need to do um, the covering of the road activities, or the place where you need to smoothen the road. Okay, so all this work can happen immediately without any delay, if you have some of the equipments on your own. Okay, so here the jackhammers are used for demolishing, as I said, and this jackhammer can be either a pneumatic or electromechanical tool that combines a hammer directly with a chisel. The type which is been used for a jackhammers include pneumatics, hydraulics, and it can be either even it can be of electric type as well. The main types are pneumatic that performs the help of a high pressure of air from a air compressor. You also have the hydraulic jackhammers, which can operate by hydraulic energy with the help of some fluid. The next one is the electric jackhammers that is been functioning with the help of electric power. Here you have a handheld jackhammers, which have been generally powered by compressed air, but some are also being powered by electric motors. These larger jackhammers can be used for rig mounted hammers used for construction machinery, and also this can be hydraulic operated. And they are powerful. They are typically used for breaking up of the rock. If you want to break the rock, and so you can break the rock, and then you can put it in the crusher, and still you can find, you can also convert that rock into a required amount of size of the stone. And this is also used for a pavement and also for a concrete application. This is how the jackhammer looks. It can be operated either hydraulically or electrically or pneumatically. These are the different components involved. You have the cylinder, which can be either hydraulic or pneumatic application. You can use it. And you have the chuck, you have the bearing, you have the port, your inlet port and the exhaust port. You have the passage for the coolant for a hydraulic passage, or even you have the air passage and for pneumatic passage. You have the piston. Okay, it operates with the help of a ratchet mechanism. Um, it is also having a chuck where it also having the location where it can hold, and then you can do the operation. This is the important machine called a ripper machine. This machine is used for tearing and ripping apart from the earth, particularly for a hard and also for a frozen ground. If you have the hard and frozen ground, and you want to dig the materials, and these rippers can be used. And these are the line diagram of a ripper. You see, it is the blade, single blade, having it used for uh, the material with the power of force. And here you have a similar this is the bucket basically. Bucket is having a blade, and you have the cylinder and also tilt cylinder, which is operated hydraulically. And here you have the depth sensor. You will also understand what is the depth of a particular equipment. Here, the ripper is nothing but a bulldozer. Okay, it's similar to the bulldozer, but what you have is it help you to rip with some depth in depth again. But the level of depth will be slightly higher than what you have for a bulldozer. And again, you have different size of the rippers. So here you have different width, you have different depth in the different volume and different length. And accordingly, you can also select the size of the rippers as well. You see, depending upon see if you have a higher length, you also have a higher width, higher depth, and the volume is also going to be higher. And according to that, you can also select which one is much more suited for your application. What is the output of the ripper? Okay, this the output is going to be used for excavating the land in less time. The time will be very less, and it provides a very good product. It increases the efficiency of work. The product obtained from a ripper is used for various purposes. It can excavate the soil which is in front of a blade, which is keeping on rolling and thereby reducing the frictional drag. It is also widely used for backfilling as well. And the other uses of ripper includes used for excavation for foundations. It's also used for removing deposits on deposits of clay or a gravel. It's also used for excavation of drain pipes. It's also used in cutting roads in hills. Suppose you want to have a road into the hilly area, even this ripper can be used because you have a blade which is very good for cutting operations. And even this can be used for cutting benches for your activities. But there are some factors that is been affecting the selection of a ripper. So we have seen some of the other factors for other machines. Even we need to apply the same thing for a ripper as well. So what is the size required for a given job, and what kind of job for which this will be used, and firmness of a hauled road, and what is the slope of the hauled road, what is the length of the hauled road. All this needs to be considered when you select the ripper, and even the operator experience, even that also matters. And again, what type of footing over which it is required to travel, or is it requiring a high or low tractive efficiency, even that is also very important. This is the economic life of a ripper between the expenditure which is required and what is based on the number of hours it is going to operate. So when the number of hours that a particular ripper is going to operate, plus the expenditure is going to be increasing because the wear and tear is also very much important. See, the expenditure here the expenditure is going to be increasing because once the number of hours, suppose if you go for the outsource, okay, your vendor will be charging you the charge for which you need to spend the money that is based on the number of hours that you are going to operate, and you're going to use this for your particular operations. So here this is an example where the graph shows the green is the straight line, but you see the red one. This is the gap what we have between the expected and then the operating one. But what is in your hand is you need to select the proper amount of the size of the ripper, and accordingly you can also optimize uh, the cost, the initial cost. You can bring down here. Okay. After some point, see what is in your hand is you need to look for some cost reduction or the maintenance cost from the initial level of hours. So that is where you can also reduce the cost at the same time. You can also increase. You can also do some cost saving in your budget of your project. It can be either for a small activities or a bigger activities. Especially when you have depth where you need to have a hard materials to do. Accordingly, you can also select the different size and different weight, the different volume of repair. Accordingly, the cost can be adjusted here. As far as the repair and maintenance cost of repair is concerned, it includes the cost of replacement parts and even the labor charges also there because the operator is going to operate it. And you have the cost of setting up and operating facilities to carry out if you have any major repair and maintenance operations. The repair and maintenance cost also varies from year to year. That is what I have shown in the last right. The initial the graph which shows the initial number of duration of years or months. You can reduce the cost, but that is based on how you are selecting the equipment. And as the age or as the life is going to get increased, um, the, the life is also going to come down and the wear and tear is also going to get higher. And accordingly, the annual and maintenance cost is also going to be higher depending upon the depreciation what it is going to have on a particular equipment. This is the market survey for cost of a repair. It is having two type of repair. It can be either vibro type or a hydraulic repair. If you are going for a vibrator repair, it comes around 33 lakhs. And hydraulic repair, it is slightly since it's operating with the help of hydraulic, it is slightly on the higher side. But I will give you some of the cost details in the second half, okay, where some of the details are given. And even there are some of other manufacturers. I will also show you what is their specifications and how much they cost. Even that I can show to you. And this is used. This repair, the market survey cost for repair is based on quantities of soil, sand, rubble, and other material which is used during the construction or for other work. Accordingly, the cost will also vary. And these repairs can be found on a wide range of sites, mines, even for quarries and for engineering projects, basically what you have for a PWD. And this again, the two types, you need to select the best one. So we will see the machinery data, which includes the different type of machines and what will be the cost, maybe after 10 minutes break. Okay, we will see the thing after 10 minutes break. Then I will also show you some of the videos, and then we can go for some question and answer session. So we will resume back by 12:25.
Yes, okay, 10:20. Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Arunraj. Okay, what we are going to do for this 10-minute breaks immediately after. We are already a bit late in the first section, and actually we can give a maximum of 6 to 7 minutes break at the moment. And I have a humble request. Okay, that is basically originated from PWD, the chief engineer. We have sent something. Google feedback form to each and every participants now, and you can also find in the message in the current Meet platform. We send us message as well as we send it to your email IDs. There is a Google form. It's a feedback form for this program. We would like to get it from each participants from this filled your feedback form immediately after completing this section. That is very relevant, and it is a stringent requirement from PWD, and we submitted to the same to the department people. So it is a kind request from our side. Okay, please fill it up the form immediately after completing the section, because section will be we will end up within 1.5 hours. So please take into consideration, and this is a request from IEA Kochi. Thank you. And we can see after Next section will be start after 6 or 7 minutes. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back. We'll see some of the machinery data, whatever we have seen so far. You'll see what are different manufacturers and how much is the cost. We will see now. Then I will show you some of the videos, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Already time is 12:20, and we'll try to close it max by 1:45. Okay, I will show you some of the machinery data. So the first one is a stone crusher. This is how it looks. It is used for crushing the stones, and the cost of this comes close to 3 lakhs per one component. And you have the manufacturers from company called Star Trace Private Limited, Tamil Nadu. They manufacture this stone crusher. And I was explaining you the jar type, okay. So you have the two jars. One is a movable jar, and the one is a stationary jar. And this stone crusher is been having a jar type is having different capacity, which ranges between uh, 15 to 350 tons per hour. And you see here, this has been sold by a company called Rojak Asia Limited in Rajasthan. And the cost of this jar type is going to be 30 lakh per unit. And you have the jar crusher again, which is having 1 lakh rupee per piece. It's been manufactured by Lakshmi Infab Private Limited, Gujarat. And again, depending upon the size, and then depending upon the requirement, you can also purchase your machines. You see, this is the jar crusher, which is being manufactured by Dpk Grinding Center in Tamil Nadu. And the cost is not given, but I have some of the catalog. I can also send it to you. You can send me. Some of you can also send your email to me. I will send my mobile number, and also I will send you my email ID. I will also show you at the end of the presentation, so that you can email me, or you can even call me. Um, um, so that we can. I can also send you some of the technical specification or catalog. And this PPT I will be giving to IEA coaching chapter representatives. So they will be emailing it to you, so that you can also have this as a reference for your engineers, and also for you to have some understanding. You have the next one called jar crusher. Again, you see here, this is the stones of required shape, forming a shape of a cone. This jar crusher is been done by a company called Automatic Stone Crusher Plant, where you have a capacity up to 50 dph, and dph is nothing but tons per hour. Okay, so 50 tons can be carried out. 50 tons of stones can be crushed in an hour. So the cost here is 50 lakhs per unit. And again, you need to select depending upon the capacity. And if you go with low capacity, the cost is going to be lower, and accordingly, you can also have your strategy. We have a jar crusher, which is again being manufactured by a company called Jcb Industries in Delhi. And the cost is again, this can be also a portable one. And this is going to be 5,000 per unit. There are some other manufacturing includes Dpk Engineers stone crushing. Here again, the capacity is going to be between 150 tph to 250 tph. And you see, the cost is 123 lakhs. So again, But whereas we have even for a 50 TPH, we have seen something the cost is going to be something 55 lakhs. So, but considering the capacity is at the higher side, still this seems to be uh, uh, having the cost worth respect to the capacity and then the cost. So that's why you need to select the machines considering the cost as well as the requirements, whether it is fulfilling your requirement or not. But I'm not saying which is best or that is best, but it is you need to select according to your requirement and application. And you have a company called Sai Engineering Compressor from Haryana. The cost is going to be 50 lakhs per unit. And again, depending upon the requirements, it is again even it can be you can get it with 10 lakhs per unit. The company name is MRB Engineering Works. The cone crusher, again, I told you about the GCO grinding center. Here, cost is going to be 8.5 lakhs per piece. And you have the stone crusher cone. Again, this has been manufactured with a company called Lakshmi Enfab Private Limited Stone Crusher. And they have the internal model name LCC for stone press. And the cost is going to be 30 lakhs per piece. And this is a stone crusher, stone cone crusher, and it comes with 54 lakhs by a company called Creative Enterprises Rajasthan. You have the cone crusher having the capacity between 150 to 200 TPH, where the cost is going to be 75 lakhs per unit. And just a second, I'm ensuring whether my voice is audible or not. Okay. The capacity is going to be 150 to 200 TPH. It is being sold by Agarwala brand of BPA projects, which is located in Uttar Pradesh. I'm coming to the next category called dosers. This is what the dosers is all about. I was telling about the doser, which can be attached to a tractor, and the doser is nothing but the one which is having the bucket with a bigger size blade. Is the blade, and this doser which can be done with some Sanjay Udyag farm truck tractor fitted with doser. The cost of this doser equipment is going to be 60,000, which is being sold by a company called Sanjay Udyag, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. And we have the crawler doser. This is the crawler one where you have the chain type. Chain type. No, it's not a wheel type here. Okay, and this has been sold by a company called Caterpillar India Private Limited. And the fuel tank, the tank capacity of this is going to be 424 liter, and see again, Mahindra means it is located in Maharashtra is also doing the doses with backhoe loader. The cost is going to be 25 lakhs. And FR Solutions Private Limited is having the dosers which has been coming with a rate of 65 lakhs per unit. Sri Guru Krupa Traders from Maharashtra is also manufacturing doser, which comes around 30 lakhs per piece, where the engine power is going to be 200 horsepower. The operating horsepower is going to be 200 horsepower, which is the engine power, and the weight of this dozer is going to be 30 tons. Okay. You have a crawler dozer where the cost is going to be 50 lakhs per piece. It is being sold by a Resik Automotive. It is located in Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. We have the construction excavator, which is been done by a company called Hyundai. So I will show you some of the video in which you can also find some of the construction excavators equipments as well. It is being done by Hyundai company. And the cost of this is going to be 43 lakhs per unit. It is having a center frame. You can see it is a center frame having a X leg type. It will be X leg type, and the maximum engine power for this application is going to be 105 horsepower. It is in terms of kilowatt, it is 78 kilowatt. It is running at a speed of 2200 RPM, and this is as per the standards. Okay, you have different standards according to that, because the standards you need to maintain when you go for a construction activities. The operating weight of this equipment is going to be 30,790 kilogram. This has been sold by a company, as I said, it's Hyundai Construction Equipment Private Limited, which is located in Maharashtra. We have a hydraulic excavator, which is again been manufactured by a company called Hyundai, and the cost is going to be 45 lakhs per unit. And this has been sold by Unity Earth Tech Haryana. We have a Cobalco digger. The price is going to be 65 lakh per unit, and the maximum operating is the Cobalco vehicle. The digger, we call this as a Cobalco excavator. Okay, you can see how it's been used, and the maximum operating weight is going to be 22,800 kilogram, and the maximum engine power is 158 horsepower, and the fuel tank capacity of this vehicle is 320 liters, and the maximum torque is going to be 592 Newton meter. And the same hydraulic excavator is also being manufactured by a company called Volvo, where the price is going to be 75 lakh per unit, and maximum operating weight is 20,000 kg. Maximum engine power the horsepower is going to be 140 horsepower, and this is a good application where this can be used for a rock type application, a wetland type, even you can use it for riverside application, excavation application. Here, the maximum bucket capacity, you also need to select the capacity of this. So here, the maximum bucket capacity is going to be 1 cubic meter. And the engine type is going to be water cooled intercooler, and the width, the width, this is you have the width here, shoe width you call below this, and the width is going to be 400 mm. Okay, and when you go for one more excavator called a long boom, this is an excavator. I mean, the boom is going to be long. Okay, this is the boom I told you. When I was explaining the different parts, I told you the boom, and when it is on the higher side, you call this as a long boom excavators. And the cost is going to be excavator cost. Okay, not the complete vehicle, only this excavator is going to be 4 lakh per set, and this can be attached to an excavator. And the brands, the different brands, okay, Jcb Commercial, and the company called Anand Engineering Works, they manufacture this boom excavators, and it can be attached to this machine, which is being manufactured from Jcb or Commercial or Sari. Okay, and even you have the sales service availability, you also have the warranty, and this is the company is located in Faizabad. See, you go for a hydraulic excavator, which is being manufactured by a Hyundai, which is a used machine. Still it comes, they also have R210 model. It's been a used one, and the cost is going to be 55 lakh per unit. You see how this excavator looks. This is also having a new economic mode and with having a good control over fuel efficiency, and is having good savings as well. And the maximum operating weight is going to be 21,000 kilogram, and maximum engine power is going to be 150 horsepower at 1900 RPM. And the working area here, it can be applied for a rock type application, forest type application, a desert type, or a wetland, or even for some of the riverside application, and even for coal bulldozing type you can use this. Is a backhoe front end loader. You can see the vehicle. Capacity is going to be 15,500 kilogram, and the cost is 2.25 lakh per piece. And the gross power of this product is 72 horsepower at 1800 RPM, and maximum operating weight is going to be 5,000 kilogram, and the maximum dig depth, maximum it can dig up to 1000 mm, and again the bucket capacity is going to be 1 cubic meter. You have the battery which comes around 12 volts, and the material is going to be mild steel. And the manufacturer is Hoisting Thermal Industry, which is located in Madhya Pradesh, in a place called Arjpuram, in Maharajpura industrial area. This is a tractor Jcb. You are a tractor backhoe loader. This is a tractor with backhoe loader, and the bucket rated capacity is 0.6 cubic meter, whereas in the previous cases we have seen the bucket capacity as 1 cubic meter. So according to that requirement, you can select your thing as well. And this cost comes around 6 lakh per unit, and maximum it can reach up to 12 feet, and the dumping height is going to be 9 feet, and the digging depth is going to be 7 feet. Maximum operating height is going to be 12 feet, and is manufactured in a company called Chandrayan Gutta, Hyderabad. And this is a yes backhoe loader, and the price is going to be 24 lakh per piece, and the engine power is going to be 76 horsepower, and the warranty is going to give us 12 months, and the gross power is 76 horsepower at 2200 RPM, and the battery, you have two battery, each having 12 volts, and the dumping angle is 42 degree. And you have a Excellence Backhoe Loader, which is coming under a brand of Jcb, and this cost is 27 lakh per unit. And you see this is the vehicle, and this is the yes backhoe loader, and this is the Jcb Backhoe Loader with the name of Excellence Backhoe Loader. And here the maximum the digging is maximum going to be 4.77 mm, and the maximum pump flow rate is going to be 118 lpm, because this is again hydraulic one, so it needs to have the flow rate which is coming as 118 lpm. We also have the sales service available, and it can reach at full height to a sleeve center of almost 2.74 mm meter, sorry, it's 2.74 meter. And this equipment is being manufactured in a company called Yantraman Atomic Private Limited, Baroda, you call it. Okay, you have a bull backhoe loader. It is the backhoe loader, where this comes with a 76 horsepower, and each unit or each equipment cost is almost 23 lakh per unit, and the bucket capacity of this loader is going to be 1 cubic meter, and the gross power is going to be 76 horsepower at 2200 RPM. And you also have either you can go with the first newly operated new loader, or you can go with a second-hand loader as well. When you are going for a second-hand loader, you also need to ensure that all the performance are being met, then you buy the second hand. You need to do the proper audit, then you have to go for the purchase of the second hand also. It's not mandated that you have to go for a new purchase. Even you can go for a second hand also, because but again you need to ensure that what will be the working condition, then you can go for it. And this company, the manufacturer is RBA's Global Trading Private Limited. They have the dealership in Electronic City as well, in a place called Bangalore. It's again a very good company. The escorts, you might have heard of this company. They also manufacture this backhoe loader, and they come up with same specification of 76 horsepower at 2200 RPM, and each cost is 90.95 lakh per unit. Engine oil is going to be having a capacity of 11.5 horsepower, and fuel tank capacity is going to be 134 liters, and the rear axle oil is 17.1 liters, and the max flow, you have the two pumps, which means you have the hydraulic operator one for a back and another one for a front. So the pump rating is going to be 117.5 at the rate of 2200 RPM, and the hydraulic system oil is going to have a 150 liter capacity, and this has been manufactured with a company called the Catalyst Engineering Service, which is located in New Delhi. This is the Jcb Backhoe Loader. You have a cubic meter capacity of 1.8. It's slightly higher than other. Like we have seen 0.6 and 1, but here the backhoe bucket capacity is 1.8 cubic meter, and accordingly the cost is slightly higher because the bucket size is higher. So unlike we have seen 18 or 22, now here it is 24.5. Because again the corresponding cost increases because of the increase what you have for your the size increase. Okay, and is coming up with the brand JCB, and the loader capacity of bucket is 1.8, as I said, and the maximum operating weight is going to be 5,000 kilogram, and maximum dig depth is going to be 2,000 millimeter, and this is being manufactured in a company called Vintage Infra Equipment Solutions Private Limited, which is located in Gujarat, place called Bharuch, Ankleshwar. This is the backhoe loader of JCB, where the specification is 22 horsepower at 1800 RPM, and it is having the different traveling speed. It can be with either forward with 6.1, 9.1, and 9.8 or 21 or 40 kilometer per hour, and the fuel tank capacity is going to be 128 liter. And this has been manufactured with a company called Sakti Earth Movers Limited Liability Private Limited, located in Begusarai in Bihar. The one what we have seen is a tipper used for the transport purpose for handling the material. Commercial vehicles is basically called as a commercial vehicle, and this Tata company, the brand of Tata Signa 2823 tipper, they're using this as a tipper for roads and bridge construction activities. Each vehicle cost is 42.89 lakhs, and is going to have a 9-speed gearbox, and the fuel tank is with the capacity of 300 liters. We have the clutch is 380 mm diameter. Is going to be a push type. It's a single plate dry friction organic lining material, organic lining friction material it is having. Yeah, the overall weight of the vehicle is 25,000 kilogram. Okay. This is the overall weight of the complete vehicle, and the gradability, it can also go with some gradability with climbing the gradient. It's almost 29%. and the brand is going to be Tata Signa, and this has been the dealer for this is we also have dealers, and you have the Jotan Waterworks, which is located in Iswal, Musaram, and you see Ashok Leyland tipper is also having a truck. What you have seen, like Tata Signa, you only can have the Ashok Leyland, which is coming with 2820 series. The cost is going to be 40.35 lakh per unit, and they have the front axle forged I section, and they also have the reverse area type, and the rear axle ratio is going to be a full floating single speed rear axle ratio. They call RRR, RAR, rear axle ratio. It's going to be 6.5, and the engine is going to be BS6. Now it's like emissions. Emission norms you need to go for a BS6, where you need to reduce the carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, nitrogen oxide emission. So that's why you're going for a BS6 version. Accordingly, the cost slightly it is getting increased because of this emission norms. Even you have the emission norms for off highways like dozers, dumpers, excavators. You also have the emission norms, um, and even it's like similar to what we have for automobile, for a cars, bus, and also for the two wheeler. Similarly, this equipment also having some of the requirements which needs to be fulfilled by the manufacturer. And the maximum power of this Ashok Leyland tipper truck is going to be 200 horsepower at 2400 RPM, and the maximum torque is going to be 700 Newton meters at the rate of 1200 to 2000 RPM. You have the company called Bharat Benz, where the truck capacity is going to be 25,000 kg, and you have the cost which comes around 38 lakh per piece. The overall gross vehicle weight, as I said, it's going to be 25,000. Same thing what we have also compared with Ashok Leyland and also the Tata Sigma. And again, but you see here the capacity of fuel tank is slightly lesser, 290 liter, and the maximum torque is going to come up to 850 Newton meter at the rate of 1200 to 1600 RPM. And the number of cylinders is going to be 6, and again, it is also going to compliance with Euro 6 norms or BS6. You call in India, you call BS6, and in Europe, you call Euro 6. And this has been derived from Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE. Based on that, they also do a lot of testing, and they ensure that the emissions are controlled. And this company, the company, the department is nothing but a Daimler India Commercial Vehicle. They call DICV. This is located in a location called Oragadam in Tamil Nadu, place called Kanjipuram district. And you have a tipper truck which comes, this is a tipper truck which comes 18 lakh per unit. It's been manufactured in by RBAS Global Trading Private Limited, and the Electronic City is located in Electronic City. It's a Caterpillar CAT 1076 horsepower off-highway truck. The engine power is going to be 749 kilowatt, and in terms of horsepower, it is 1004 horsepower. This is also meeting the standard, and then it is coming up with different version like 749 kilowatt or 758 kilowatt or 708 kilowatt. Three version it is having, and the engine capacity is going to be 32.1 liter, and the fuel tank is going to be slightly higher, 1,140 liter. And you have Gainwell Common Sales Private Limited, that is a dealer for a Caterpillar vehicle, which is located in UP, a place called Gaudam Buttanagar in Greater Noida. Next is the water tankers. You have the water tanker, which is made up of mild steel. mild steel tractor, and the company brand here, what is shown here is Mahalakshmi Industries, which is located in Kanpur in UP. It's called Palanganj. And here the cost of this is going to be 85,000 per piece. Storage capacity of this water tanker is going to be between 5,000 to 10,000 liter. And the storage material, it can store the water basically, uh, and the capacity is going to be 5,000 to 10,000 liter. And the material of this the material what is shown in the blue is going to be a mild steel. The orientation is going to be horizontal. It's not a vertical kind of thing. It's going to be horizontal. Uh, and the maximum pressure it can stand is between 0 to 100 psi. And the same mild steel tractor water tanker, it is also been manufactured by a company called Ram J Agro Industries. It is located in Gujarat, a place called Himatnagar, Sabarkanta, and under the name of RV, they manufacture and they sell it. And the capacity again is going to be 5,000 to 12,000 liter. And the price cost, see like here it is 10,000 and the price is 85,000. And here the capacity is going to be slightly higher. Accordingly, the product cost is also on the higher side. And the length is going to be 10 feet and depth is going to be 7 to 8 meters. You have another company called the Versa New Techno Industry, which is located in Ahmednagar, in Maharashtra, and it is coming up with three different capacity: 10,000, 20,000, and 30,000 liter. And they are also giving the warranty of 6 months, and the price is going to be 1 lakh per piece. This price will also vary depending upon the capacity. Okay. Some vehicles, some of the manufacturers they give a warranty up to 1 year, some they give up to 6 months. You also need to see all the things, and then it's not that one particular criteria alone you are considering when you purchase any equipment. All three CGD you have to look into it. We go for a next one, a single layer SRN water tanker. This is a water tanker having a capacity between 5,000 to 500 to 1,000, 15,000 liter basically. Cost is last year is 15,000. The cost again is going to be 2 lakh. And the layer is going to be single layer, and this has been manufactured by a company called SRN Engineers, which is located in UP, Ghaziabad. You see, previously we have seen a material called mild steel. The material of this tanker, water tanker, is going to be iron, and you see, this comes around 1.2 lakh per piece. And the capacity, you see, this capacity is going to be 4,500 liters actually. And it comes with a length of 9 and 9.3. And it's available with different colors. And this has been manufactured in a company called Galaxy Playway Industries, Kurukshetra in Haryana. You have the tractor trolley, ripper, and the rotavator. We have seen all these things. And we have seen the ripper. I was telling you the ripper having the blade with a bucket, which is used for the hard sand or hard rocks. Basically, you see, the rocks are going to be hard materials. Okay, this can be used. You also have the ripper. I told you you have hydraulic ripper as well as a vibro ripper. Vibro ripper comes around close to 33 lakhs. When you go for hydraulic ripper, sometimes when the cost will be higher, but even here, depending upon the capacity, the vehicle cost is going to be higher. So when you go up to 150 ton, then the cost will be going up to 50 lakh per unit. Then again, the material, the vibro material, the ripper material is going to be hydrox steel. and this can be used for underwater braking, and even for a mining application this can be used, and even say when you're constructing any bridges, even this can be used. When you're constructing bridges in water, where you also need to break some of the materials in underwater braking as well, this can be used. And this has been done. This repair manufacturing is also done in a company called STM Construction Equipment India Private Limited, which is located in Navi Mumbai in Maharashtra, in a place called Thane. You have Wintech Hardox vibro repair. Then this is going to be this is the one which is going to be having a capacity of 40 ton, and the cost is going to be 30 lakh per number, and the material is going to be Hardox, and you have the mount type which is on the top. It is mounted on the top basically. You see, this is a repair, okay, and where you are going to do the ripping activities, and the capacity is going to be 40 ton, and the manufacturer is Shootek Infrastructure Private Limited, which is located in Raigar. You see, this is the vibro repair. It is going to be 39.5 lakh per piece, and the power is going to be 251 kilowatt, and the vibration, the frequency is going to be 25 to 35 hertz. The material is going to be mild steel. If it is operated, if it's like hydraulically, you also operate, and you have the flow of oil, you have 200 to 250 liters per minute, and you have the hose, which is size of the hose is going to be 1 inch. The maximum splitting force is going to be 20 tons, and the manufacturer is GK Earth Movers and Equipments, which is located in a place called Indore in VIP Paraspar Nagar. You have the next important thing called hydraulic repair. Again, you have the cost which comes around 2.5 lakhs per unit, and here again capacity of the carrier weight is again slightly on the lower side, 18 to 26 tons, and the total weight is going to be 529 kilogram. This is mostly used for industrial application. You can find this company is good for hydraulic repair manufacturing. This place called Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, Singanallur. The company name is SMM Equipments Private Limited. It is a tractor trolley. It's been normally used for material handling equipment for roads and bridges. You would have seen, and again, this also needs to be purchased based on the capacity. It comes around 1.45 lakh per piece, and the manufacturer name is Rahul Lakshmi Tractor Trolley. It's used for loading application, and they also give the warranty of up to 1 year. They made steel trolley tractor trolleys, and it's not only for agriculture, even for the roads and construction purpose, for PWD, even for some other activities also we can use. This trolley the length of this trolley can be between 8 to 12 feet again. This is again manufactured from the industries from Rotas Karan. The cost is going to be 90,000 per piece. We have a tractor trolley which is having a capacity of 5 ton mild steel material. You can see, and you have the two-wheel tractor trolley. The size is going to be 10 into 6, which means about 60 mm. We have and this is manufactured in Nashik, a company called Jcb Engineering from Makmalabad. Hydraulic tractor trolley is there, which costs 90,000 per piece, and it is also made up of mild steel, and number of wheel is going to be 2, and this has been manufactured in Jabalpur, Bihar, by a company called V Industries, Trans JV Industry. Okay, you have a cast iron tractor trolley where it having a size of 10 into 6 and the capacity is going to be 12 ton. This can be used, it's not again, even PWD is having different activities. Okay, and accordingly, you can use this considering your application. And this is made in India. So, whenever you go for like you also, I know you'll be encouraging to go for a make in India, made in India product. But at the same time, the performance is very much important. We should concentrate on the performance of the functions or requirement is very much important. This is a tractor trolley again. You have a manufacturer from Gujarat. Uh, again RV. See here there are sometimes what happens. Some of the minimum sometimes they will ask you to order more than one. Okay, it's not that you need to purchase only one, but sometimes it depends on the uh, manufacturers because for them also the ROI they call return on investment. They will also considering that they have their own strategies and accordingly you can also see whether you want to have the two or one, and if you want to have only one, accordingly you can also uh, either go for contract activities or you can also see whether the other one piece what you're going to buy you can use it for future activities or not. And this cost is going to be 3 point. You see around Vijay trailers, they also mentioned the name. It's four-wheel one. This is the rotavator called uh, rotavator we have seen, and the specification is going to be between 40 to 60 horsepower, and this is going to be 98,000 per piece. The height of this is going to be 1092 mm, and the power take of PTO means power take of speed is going to be 540 rpm, and the rotor speed is going to be 215 rpm. And the length of this is 1346 mm, and the working depth is 150 mm, and this has been manufactured in a company called Carter Agro Industries Private Limited, which is located in Patiala, Batsam. We have a multi-speed rotavator. If you see, this is the rotavator and different speeds. Cost of this is 85,000 per unit. And the model which is coming out with this name is UB on rotavator. It is being manufactured by a company called UB Agro Industry, which is located in Rajkot. And the blade shape, the blade type is L type. You can see it's almost L type. Okay. The blade what you have loaded with is L type. See, this completely you call this as a bucket, and bucket is having different blades. Okay. This is used for multi-speed, and this is L type, and the weight overall weight is going to be 500 kilogram. You have a Mahindra gyrovator, which is 6 feet. The cost is going to be 78,000 per piece. And you see, the material what we are going to use here is mild steel, and this can be used for a power of 35 horsepower. And this is again manufactured in a company called Vishwakarma Engineering Works in a place called Gujarat in Rajkot. You have a jackhammer. This is what I have some video. I'm sorry to you this jackhammer, even air compressor. How this has been very much useful for you during the construction. I will explain that as well. Uh, The cost of this jackhammer is going to be 16,500 per piece, and again, it's also based on the load speed what is going to have. And the air consumption of this is going to be 102 cubic feet per minute, per minute, and 20 to 25 air consumption over the weight. It is going to be 24.5 kg. This is again manufactured by a company called Visual Pneumatic Tools, located in Kolkata, in West Bengal. Jackhammer IMT 105L drive. It comes with a price of 14,750, and the maximum hole size is 20 mm, and the type it's of a hammer drill, and the maximum drill depth is between 400 mm to 6,400 mm, and number of load with respect to the speed is 0 to 2000, and comes with a gray color, and this is manufactured in a company called Industrial Mining Tools Cooperative Private Limited, and is located in Taltala in a place called Kolkata in West Bengal. You might be knowing Myco Boss, and this Myco is also manufacturing the rock drill, used for drilling the rocks, which can be further crushed with the help of presses. And this comes with a price of 90,500. And you see the air requirement is going to be 48 liters, means liters per second, and per 101 cubic feet per minute at the rate of 6 bar. So the total length is going to be 565 mm, and the company name is Minotac Industrial Company. This is located in Kolkata and West Bengal. You have the air compressor, which comes, which is also very much essential for you. It comes with a capacity of 10 bar, and the price of this. And again, we have a lot of manufacturers for this compressor, air compressor. It comes around 18,800. And the type is going to be reciprocating type, and the power size is between 1.5 and even go up to beyond 2.5 horsepower as well. And the company who manufactured this is Hulk local. You have different pressure range. It can be 8 to 10 bar or 6 to 8 bar. And the air tank capacity is going to be greater than 40 liters, and comes with either 1,500 or 200 liter air tank capacity as well. The manufacturer name is Local Industries, which is located in New Delhi. When you have a air compressor, which is having the capacity of 150 liters, and the cost is going to be 65,000 per piece. And you have the discharge pressure in terms of bar will be less than 2 bar, and size you have this receiver size is 150 liters, and the overall horsepower is going to be 1 horsepower, and this air compressor is being manufactured by a company called Dpk Equipment Company. It's located in Delhi, place called Bhavana. This air compressor again having 5 horsepower and 10 horsepower, and the unit cost is 68,300. And this can be either air cooled or water cooled, and here we are going to air cooled one. And the power source is going to be AC single phase, and the number of compression stage is going to be single stage. You can have either single stage compressor or 2-stage compressor depending upon your requirement. Accordingly, the cost variation will happen. They are going to give 1 year warranty, and manufacturer is Samrit Vayu Equipments Private Limited, which is located in Parkwan in New Delhi. Next, we will see the generator. I told you about a generator between. See, you need to have a generator based on your application. You can have the portable generator, which is having the range of different range and 7.5 kilo volts ampere, and according to the requirement you can use it, because these generators are very much essential for the electricity, and it will help you to do the work in the night time as well. So you need to have you need to select depending upon your requirement. You also have the different. I told you about the sizes. You can also select a different size depending upon your requirements. The overall weight of this portable is a greaves, actually a greaves power, and it's manufactured by a company called Cotton Greaves India Limited, which is located in Pune, place called Chittor in Maharashtra. Compression ratio is going to be 18.1, and it is the residential, but this may not be applicable for you. And but but if you go for continuous one, like where you need to have the liquid application, like where you need to have the continuous power during the night time for you to carry out some of the work, then you can select according to the requirement. So this is one manufacturer called Dpk Engineers Private Limited, which is located in Bangalore, JC Road, and here they manufacture a genset with a rating of 140 kilovolts ampere with liquid cooled one, and this is a high speed diesel. And the diesel generator, the brand name of Tata. They also have the dealers in UP, and they manufacture this diesel generator with a control panel having a maximum power of 45 kilowatt ampere. It's a three-phase one, and each product cost or piece cost is going to be 4.13 lakh, and the voltage is going to be 1500 volts, and the frequency is going to be 50 hertz. And the brand under the brand of Tata Reserve, and um, this company is going to sell the product. And we have also had a air cooled apart from liquid, and what we have seen here is liquid comes around 7.9, where we have the air is slightly lesser, okay? Because air is coming with can use this air cooling with lesser cost rather than going for a liquid cooling. And here we have a power rating up to 62.5 kilowatt ampere, and it has been coming up with a brand of Kirloskar Green, and it's been supplied by a company called Goyal Power Engineers from Andheri East in Mumbai. You have a next type called smooth wheel roller, and the smooth wheel roller. So we have seen different type of roller, right? Smooth wheel roller is one having the one wheel at the front and two wheel at the rear, and the diameter is going to be large at the front, and the rear it is going to be large, and front it is going to be less. But because of the sizing of the picture, it is looking differently. Okay, so this vehicle, this roller is going to be costing around 2.65 lakh per unit, and this is being operated by a drive mode hydraulic, and it can be either forward or backward, and the vibrating frequency is going to be 60 hertz. The grid weight is going to be 20 degree, This roller has been manufactured by a Topper Impacts company, which is located in Wasipur, in New Delhi. We have a static road roller. It's a road roller of a static. Okay, here you can see the front wheel is lesser diameter than the larger wheel. Okay. This can be used, and again, this company called Uniworld Construction Equipment in UP. They also achieved this made in India through manufacturing in India. So the cost is coming to be 6 lakh per piece, and the engine power of this static roller is going to be 110 horsepower at 2200 RPM. And they come with the brand of Uniworld itself, and the maximum working speed is going to be 20 kilometers per hour. And the drum with what you have is 1000, and this is manufactured in Ghaziabad in UP. The company name is Uniworld Construction Equipment. So when I say width, there's a track width, the distance between this wheel center and this wheel center. Okay. And you have a company called Viswakarma Static Road Rollers, which is located in Munta in New Delhi. They manufacture this static road roller. And the engine they are going to get from Tata, and engine type is going to be water cooled. And that is the specification of when something it is having 17 feet 6 length, width, and height. It has 8 feet, and the number of cylinders is going to be 6. Going to be 65 horsepower, and is an industrial road roller, but still this has been quite common even in the roads and construction equipments where you go with operating weight of 8,000 kilogram, and you have the rolling width of 1850 mm, and you have the fuel tank capacity of 150 liters, and the diameter of the front roller is going to be 1030. The rear roller is going to be higher, okay, but the dimension is not mentioned here. But once you look into the catalog, you can also find out the things. You have an engine roll loader which has been manufactured by a next gen company, which is located in UP in Ghaziabad, having a drum width of 1850 mm and maximum work speed between in the first gear it is having the ratio of 2.6, and the second gear the gear ratio is going to be 3.85. Third gear the ratio is going to be 6, and the fourth gear the gear ratio is going to be 8.3. This comes with a capacity of 8 ton, and the cost is going to be 6.50 lakh per piece. You have the vibratory loader, and vibratory paver road. I told you the paver is being used for the roads where you need to have 4 lanes or 8 lanes applications. And here it's completely going to be automatic, and each cost, the unit cost is going to be 3.6 lakh, and it comes with a brand of Orange. The company name is Orange Construction Equipment, which is located in Vasai East in Mumbai. And this is used for road construction work, this particularly, as you said. This is going to be a water feeding system where it is going to be completely automatic. And the model name or the number what we have for this orange considering unit is HTP 3 axis type. The overall weight is going to be 1100 kilogram. Next one is the vibratory loader, where it has been done by a company called with a brand name of Dynapec, and you have the outsourcing work which has been done by a company called Medini, and They also have the dealership in Bangalore, place called Uttarahalli. And what is the specification of this vehicle? It is having a drum with this a drum. It is having a width of 1690 mm and wheelbase. Wheelbase is nothing but the distance between um, front and the rear wheel. You call this 85 mm. You have the curb weight of the curb weight having the requirement the clearance of 370 mm. Each cost is 26 lakh per unit, where it comes with a drum width of 1690. The name is drum tandem vibrating roller. Again, this vibrating roller having a gradability of 30 degree and the frequency of 70 hertz. The cost is going to be 2.48 lakh per unit. And the manufacturer is the brand is going to be the engine gives 9 horsepower. And this has been done by Balaji Construction Machinery in Gujarat in Rajkot. And the vibrating roller again it comes with 2.10 lakh per piece, where the weight is going to be 550 kilogram and the capacity is going to be 20 kilonewton. And this has been done in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, a place called Nalaspora by a company called Sona Construction Technologies Private Limited. This is the vehicle of a vibrating roller. It's a vibrating roller machine of a brand called Unicorn. It's a brand global link, which is located in Vikaspuri in Delhi. And the overall weight of this machine is going to be 580 kilogram, and water tank capacity is going to be 35 liter, and engine type is going to be air cooled diesel or it can be gasoline. And the compaction capacity is going to be 25,000 square feet per hour. The fuel tank capacity is going to be 8 liter. This dynamic machine is also having, depending upon the weight, the cost can also be varied. So here the weight is going to be 800 kilogram, and accordingly the cost is also slightly on the higher side. It comes to 4.35 lakh per unit, and operating weight is 800 as I said. And this is located in Gujarat in a place called Lipwa, Ahmedabad. And vibrating roller having an engine speed of um, engine power of 18 horsepower, where you have a capacity of 50 kilonewton with a different size of 2100 into 1000. And the vibrating roller is also manufactured by Shiva Construction under the brand of Shiva. It is also a made in India product. You call it as like make in India converting to as made in India. Again, the vibrating frequency is going to be 60 hertz. The price is going to be 1.85 lakh per piece. You have the brand of Bellstone, which is located in UP, Ghaziabad, having a vibrating roller of rolling width. The rolling width is going to be 1000 mm, and the vibrating frequency is going to be 50 hertz, and the force which is going to act is 29.6 kilonewton, and the operating weight is going to be 300 kilogram. You have a pneumatic roller, it is a pneumatic roller where you have four or five wheels, where you can also increase the width for increasing the pressure, and then you can also make sure that you are applying proper pressure to the roads or bridges during the construction. So here the cost is going to be 50 lakh per unit when you go with a brand of Dynapac with an operating mass of 27,000 kilogram, and the machine length is 5310, and the width is going to be 2370 mm. This is Also, you have the company called Medini Engineering Service, which is located in Uttarahalli in Bangalore. They're selling this product with the brand of Dynapac.
Excuse me, sir, shall I borrow 30 seconds in between? It's a make an announcement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, yeah.
Yes, yes, okay. I think we don't have much time to close this section. I would like to highlight one important point. We have sent the feedback form in this Google Meet platform. You can find it, and it will be grateful to all of you. Please fill up this Google form. That is the feedback form today itself. Okay, thank you very much. And we don't have much time left, and we can continue, please. Sir, please proceed.
Sir, and we go to the next because it's very difficult for me to cover all the things because I can also go in depth, but considering time limit, I'm also restricting some of the things, and even what I will do, I will email all these things so that I can also look into it. And if you guys any doubt you have, you can also contact me. I will give my mobile number and email ID at the end of the presentation. Okay, and next is the Tandem Roller, where the company called Avansis Engineering Private Limited, which is located in Hyderabad. And they manufacture this tandem drum vibrating roller. The cost is going to be 23 lakh per unit, and the capacity of this is going to be 76 horsepower at 2200 rpm. The maximum working speed is 12 km per hour. And the drum width is 1690, and it is of diesel application. This has also been done by a company, Medini Engineering, with a brand name of Dynapac with 26 lakh per unit. It's also done with a company called Sri RD Constructions. It is located in Jaipur in Rajasthan, place called Lal Dungri. The cost is 5.5 lakh per piece. The surface of application where this tandem vibrating loader can be used is asphalt concrete pavement. We have the compactors, which is been manufactured by a company called Dpk Engineers, which is located in Pune, and they are selling it at the brand of Volvo. And again, you have a company called brand Jcb, which has been have this. The cost is going to be 9 lakh per unit when you go for this double drum tandem roller. You can also go for a rental as well. This is for a rental. We have the sheep foot roller. We have seen it also. It's coming with different size. Even this is for something like, even this is also being used for some of the agriculture activities. But for roads and roads activities, you can have it according to that. These are different manufacturers that you have. There are mini tandem rollers. This is coming up with manufacturers from New Delhi called Catalyst Engineering Service, and they also outsource it, and even the original manufacturer, they are selling it with a brand name of Scots. Okay, and the original price is 11.30 lakh per unit, and you also have the mini tandem vibrating roller. It costs 4.5 per unit. And mini tandem rollers, what you have seen, it is also coming up with the brand Tandem. You have seen in most of the roads this tandem vehicle. and each unit cost is going to be 14.75. And double drum mini tandem is also there, and it has been coming with a brand of Dynapack, which comes 11.75 lakh per unit, and this has been supplied with a company called Avansis Engineering Private Limited, located in Telangana and Hyderabad. We have some other rollers. These are some other rollers. What do you have? You have rollers which is coming with a brand name of Sona. And they have the gradability gradability in the sense that degree where it can go up. It can go up to 20 degree of the gradient. And you have the walk behind roller. It comes 2 lakh per unit piece, and it is manufactured under the brand of JP, which is located in Kolkata. These are some other minor plants and machines what you have. Then you can also use this soil compactor having a capacity of 68 kilogram, and you have the plate size, and you have the motor power, and accordingly you can also use these machines. Okay, thanks for an opportunity, and I will now show you some of the videos. Okay, so I will show another 10-15 minutes. 10 minutes I will show you videos. Then you can ask your doubts, and I will send this presentation to IEA Kolkata, IEA Kochi chapter. So they will be emailing it to the individual participants. And now, if you have any doubts because we have limited time, even you can ask your doubts, or even you can email me, or if in case any clarification, you can also call me. And my email ID is p.arjunraj@gmail.com.